Hi everyone, I'm here today with my N.E.W.Ts TBR. If you don't know what this is a readathon based upon the exams in Harry Potter. So during July I've been doing my O.W.Ls, other people did their O.W.Ls earlier in the year but I missed that. And then in August we are doing our N.E.W.Ts and there are challenges that you can pick which to do, but it's quite complex. I'm not even going to begin to be able to go through all the rules here, so I will link the information video in the cards and also in the description down below so you can check that out, because if you want to take part that will do a lot better job of informing you than what I can. In August, if I was to read all of the books on this TBR, I would be reading 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. I'd be reading 21 books. That's probably not going to happen, not going to lie. I don't really ever read anything near that in a month, and while I have picked some nice short ones in here, I've also got a few chunkier ones and I also just don't think I'm going to manage it. So we'll have to see how the month goes. I'm not expecting to get through all of these and I've not really worked out what my reading order plan is yet, but never mind, I'll sort of work that out as I go. So for charms, to get an acceptable, I need to read a book with magic in it, and for that I have picked Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I believe this has got some sort of magic in it, that's what it said in the description anyway, so I'm going with that. And I've been wanting to read this for so long, and this is just basically the chance giving me the kick up the backside to pick it up, because I do also have the sequel of Legendary, so I need to kind of get on with it a bit. To get an exceeds expectations, I need to read a book with a cover that charmed me. So for this one I have picked a gorgeous book. I'll have the cover up probably this side looking at the space next to me, so you can see that for yourself, and this cover charmed me because of that cute doggy on. So I pretty much requested this off NetGalley before I'd even properly read the description, but this book is called Tomorrow by Damien Dibben. And the actual story behind it really intrigued me as well after reading that, but it was the cover that attracted me to begin with, so yeah. To get outstanding in charms, I need to read a book that I think will leave a mark. So for this I have gone for Glare or Us, that angle works, doesn't it? Good Me, Bad Me by Ali Land. This one's stretching it a little bit because basically I promised my friend that I'd give her this book back in August. I was like, I'll read it in August, don't worry. And I was trying to find a prompt anywhere where this would fit, and this was kind of the only one that I could get that would work. So I'm going with that. But yeah, this is a psychological thriller that I've heard plenty of brilliant things about, and meanwhile my friend was like, it's one of the best thrillers I've ever read. So I'm going into this hoping to be blown away as well. The description was certainly interesting, I will give it that much. So for my History of Magic exam, to get an acceptable, I need to read a book that would fit in at Hogwarts Library. So for this one, I am going for Quidditch Through the Ages by Kenilworthy Wisp. So this I had to do this because what else would fit in more at Hogwarts Library than a book that says Property of Hogwarts Library on it, and even has that in the first page. So yeah, I was quite glad that I could use this and that I've never read it, so it's like killing two birds with one stone, knocking a book off my TBR and also reading something appropriate to the prompt. Probably the most appropriate book I've got for the prompt, let's face it. To get an exceeds expectations, I need to read a book that was published at least 5 years ago, and I was struggling a little bit with this one because I'm trying to get my way through my NetGalley pile, or through books that I've promised to read for various different reasons, whether it be buddy reads or whether it be books that I borrowed or just books that people are like, you must read this right now. And so I was really struggling, and I ended up scrolling through my audiobook collection in the end, and then I saw this beauty, and this of course is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I haven't wrote down the author. I should know this off by heart. Erin Morgenstern. I'm gonna commit to that. Now this was published in 2011, so this is going to be my audiobook for the month. I think it was about 13-14 hours, so I can easily knock that one out. Even if I'm not in an audiobook mood, I will still get through that in the month, no problems. And to get an outstanding in History of Magic, I need to read a book that's at least 400 pages long. So for this one, I'm going for Am I Normal Yet by Holly Bourne, which is the first book in the Spinster Club series. And this book is 434 pages long, so sorted. This one will also be a buddy read for me. I've been meaning to buddy read this with Aoife for probably over a year, not gonna lie. And she's been so good and so patient, and I was like, right, I'm gonna get this done in August. So again, I was looking for a prompt that would work, and thankfully this is in the 400 page bracket, so I could use it for that. Next topic, I'm going to be moving on to Muggle studies. So to get an acceptable, I need to read a book from a favourite author. This one's stretching it a little bit, but I needed to read this book. So I'm going to be reading Follow Me Back by A.V. Gager. This is a reread. I read it last year and it was one of my favourite books of the year. This could turn out to be a favourite author, but I feel like that's pushing it a little bit right now because this is the only book I've read by her. But I really needed to reread this month because the sequel that I haven't read yet and that I'm desperate to read is further in this TBR. So I had to squish it in somewhere, and this is where I could pop it in basically. Really looking forward to rereading this though. Fabulous, fabulous book. To again exceeds expectations, I need to read a biography. I was struggling a little bit for this because I wanted to get something off my N.E.W.Ts TBR, and meanwhile I really wanted to kind of actually stick to biography. I've struggled a little bit with that because I've kind of picked up a memoir, so it doesn't technically count, but same sort of thing, so I'm going with it. And this is The Language of Kindness, a nurse's story by Christy Watson. And I think this will be a really interesting read to get a insight into a nurse's world. To get outstanding in Muggle studies, I need to read a retelling. So I'm going to give Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik a go. I haven't yet read Uprooted, but I believe that doesn't matter even though they're set in the same world. It won't spoil anything, so it doesn't matter what order I pick these up, so I think I'm going to go for this one. Next subject is Care of Magical Creatures. So to get an acceptable, I have to read a book that's got an animal on the cover. So for this I have picked Stories We Tell Ourselves by Sarah Francois, and if you look on that cover, I'm guessing approximately where it's going to be when I insert the image, down there somewhere is a silhouette of a dog. So I could have picked many different books for this, but this is one of the oldest books on my N.E.W.Ts TBR for this year, so I wanted to try and fit it in somewhere on this readathon, so this is what I've gone for. To again exceed expectations in Care of Magical Creatures, I need to read a book with less than 160 pages. So I'm going to be reading Kenilworth Castle, which is a guidebook from an English heritage castle that I visited last month. And I was really excited when I actually looked this up and found that it was on Goodreads, because that's the only thing that is a requirement. As long as the book is under 160 pages and on Goodreads, you can read it. So I'm going for this. I'm really excited to be going to it because I'm such a castle geek. If you haven't seen that vlog and you'd like to see a bit of footage of the castle, I have got that, so I will link that in the cards for you so you can check that out. But I'm really excited to get to this. It smells really glossy. It's got a gorgeous illustration in it there of the castle, and this is going to be fun. This is going to tap into my history geekness. To get outstanding in Care of Magical Creatures, I need to read a book that includes dragons in some way. And this is another chance for me to get a short read in, because for this I am going to read the Warner Brothers Studio Tour guidebook for the making of Harry Potter. I got this one several years ago, so they've changed the cover many times since. There's a nice Hogwarts Express one, which I'm a bit jealous of, but all the same, this has got a cute back cover. And basically, inside here, if I can remember what page it's on, I mean, this again was hard work, but there is a picture of the Hungarian horntail there. On another page as well, there is some dragon content. Not that I can remember where. I can't find the other page now, but there definitely is some more dragon content in here, so this counts, and I'm glad to finally be reading this because I bought it years ago, I flicked through it, and I've always wanted to just sit down and just read it properly, and I've only ever just sort of given it a little flick through, so great to finally be getting to this, and it should be nice and quick to fly through too, so Care of Magical Creatures should be quite easy to knock off. So the next subject is Defence Against the Dark Arts, and to get an acceptable in that I need to read the last book in a series. So this is where Follow Me Back comes in, because the sequel here is Tell Me No Lies. So I I really wanted to read this. It is the final book in the series because it's just a duology. So it fits perfectly into the category. I've been desperate to read it, but I wanted to reread the first one first, hence why I shoved that in earlier. This one fits in perfectly for this topic though. To again exceeds expectations, I need to read a foiled book. I was struggling a little bit here because my physical book collection isn't the biggest compared to some people's. It's still quite big compared to others, I know. But meanwhile, my ebook collection is huge, but it's kind of difficult to know what's foiled and what isn't. So luckily, I'd bought this literally last month. So this is a Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid, and it's got some lovely foiling on the go there. And I've been wanting to read this for ages, so it's great that I am going to be reading this so soon after buying it. Achievement right there. To get outstanding in Defence Against the Dark Arts, I need to read a book that has dark in the title. So for this I'm going to read Whistle in the Dark by Emma Healy. This is the author who wrote Elizabeth is Missing, which I read last year or maybe the year before, but I think it was last year. And I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to pick up another book by this author. Next subject is potions. So I need to read a book with the name of a colour in the title. So for this I'm reading The Wisdom of Sally Red Shoes by Ruth Hogan. To again exceed expectations, I need to read a book with a male lead character. So for this I want to reread Harry Potter and the Cursed Child because this will totally finish off my Harry Potter reread. I first read this when it came out 2 years ago and I actually really enjoyed it and gave it 5 stars, but since I've just finished rereading the entire series, I am a little bit nervous that I might not enjoy it this time around because of how different it is and how it could quite easily feel like it doesn't belong to the series at all, because in a way it doesn't. So a little bit nervous about this, but really wanted to get this reread. To get outstanding in potions, I need to read a book that's over 350 pages long. So for this I've gone for Renegades by Marissa Mayer, and this is actually 556 pages. So that'll be quite a chunker to try and get through during this readathon, I think. And the final subject is one that I don't yet know if I can take, because the idea of this readathon is that you only take the subjects that you could get O.W.Ls in. And right now there is, pretty good time to be checking actually, barely 8 hours left of the O.W.Ls readathon for me, and I haven't yet finished my astronomy book. So I've not got an awful lot left, but I do need to edit this because this video needs to go up in 2 hours time. And also I am going to my friends in about 2.5 hours time, so depending on what time I get back tonight and how much of the audiobook I can listen to before and after, it'll be very, very tight on whether I do this one or not. So because it is going to be so tight, I don't know how it's going to go, so I've had to create my TBR for this subject just in case, and I'm hoping and desperate that I will get to it just to give me a bit more choice of what to pick up next month more than anything. So basically, astronomy. To get acceptable, I need to read a book that's got stars on the cover. So for this I'm going for Geekerella by Ashley Poston. If I don't complete my astronomy O.W.Ls, I might put Geekerella into my reader retelling slot back for Muggle Studies. So for Muggle Studies I'll either be reading Spinning Silver or Geekerella if I fail astronomy. To exceed expectations, I need to read a book that has the word sky in the title. So for this I'm going to be reading The Unmoving Sky by K.L. Hallam. You would not believe how long it took me to find a book that got a sky in the title other than The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson, which I do own, but I've got a physical copy of, and I think I've got enough physical books for this TBR, so I really wanted to try and find a Kindle book. And indeed this is actually a really old NetGalley book of mine, so it's helping me knock that NetGalley TBR down even more. And to get an outstanding in astronomy, I need to read a book that's set on a different planet or in a different world. So for this I'm going to be reading The Smoke Thieves by Sally Green, because this is a YA fantasy that's obviously set in a fantasy world, so I thought that counted. I'm going for it because I've been wanting to read that book since I got it pretty much, so yeah. That is the end of my TBR. Astronomy, as I said, is going to be a bit hit and miss as to whether I get to it or not. Meanwhile, I'm definitely not going to be able to read all these books regardless, so it'll be an interesting month, I think. I honestly can't say there's any that I don't want to read and that I don't think I'll be in the mood for, so I'm a little bit eager almost to try and knock this whole TBR out there. That's really not going to happen. If you are taking part in this readathon, please let me know. I would love to know what you are planning on reading and how many N.E.W.Ts you are going to be trying to achieve. if I do manage all of these, it is 7 subjects. I'm not expecting to get 7, but then I'm quite surprised that if I complete astronomy, I've managed to get 7 O.W.Ls, so my reading's on the up. I'm going to go now because I am full of cold and I've just had a coughing fit, so now I look like I'm trying to cry my way through the end of this video. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I will see you soon. Bye bye!